What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show as we roll through the weekend, getting you ready for NFL football. By this time next week, at least upon filming this on a Sunday afternoon, the Philadelphia Eagles will hopefully be in the fourth quarter of a win against the Detroit Lions. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. First, though, I want to jump into a couple of stories today, and we're going to end on some Super Bowl predictions, so stay tuned for that. It's amazing how so many national media people are starting to kind of hop on the Eagle hype train. The amount of NFL.com writers who have picked the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl this year is way more than you would believe. More on that in a second. First, though, let's start with The Athletic, and this Athletic article that I want to throw up on your screen right now, or I guess I should say a Bleeding Green Nation article, because the Athletic one is locked, and so we just got to give you what Bleeding Green Nation has said. This one is interesting. NFL executives went ahead and ranked every single NFL team, and these are always, anonymous NFL execs. You don't know how many execs are actually taking place in this sort of article, but they have ranked Philadelphia the fifth best team in the NFC, which you think, okay, fifth best team, that makes some sense, but are they actually fifth best? Are they worse than that? Better than that? Let's take a look. First, though, the article via The Athletic. Here's the little snippet on Philadelphia. Quote, Philadelphia Eagles, number 5. This is 6 spots higher than where they were, or where execs had the Eagles entering last season, when it was less clear how the team might fare with Jalen Hurts in the lineup at quarterback. What Hurts showed last season was enough for execs to upgrade the Eagles, but only to a point, even though some now see Philadelphia as having one of the top NFL's top rosters. This year's roster is more talented top to bottom than any roster Philly has had in recent years, said an exec who had the Eagles 6th in the NFC entering last season and 5th this time. They have the best O-line in football. They have excellent D-line depth. I'm not sold on the cornerback, so there is a cap there. Safety position is also interesting. They traded for Saftey Gardner-Johnson, but he wore out his welcome in New Orleans. We will see. End quote. And this is kind of an interesting, I would say, overall quote from whatever exec this is, saying Eagles have one of the best rosters in the National Football League, yet you still put them at number 5. Now, at least we can say, finally, welcome to the show, rest of the National Football League. I mean, for months, Eagle fans have been talking about how stacked this roster is. And there's a couple of people, I think, whether on Twitter or different social media platforms, who have been fans of Philadelphia, but you're starting to kind of see, albeit 1 week before the actual season, big-time NFL execs, big-time NFL writers, big-time media people actually say, hey, Philadelphia is a very, very good overall team. What's interesting, though, is trying to figure out who are the 4 better teams. And then we can look at the Athletic article, but let's just go through this on our own in terms of who are the 4 better teams in the NFC, at least from an argument perspective, knowing that quarterback plays a big role in this, and so people who are down on Jalen Hurts can't rank them as high as some other teams, despite the fact the roster is better. But this is interesting, right? So let's just say Green Bay is one of them. That's fine. I'm fine with saying Green Bay is better. Their defense is very, very good. They have a solid offensive line when healthy. Aaron Rodgers exists. That's a big deal. But you really got to look at their receiving core as being a massive, massive red flag. And if Rodgers is unable to elevate them, which is a possibility, then they're not going to be as good. So sure, Green Bay Packers is 1. Rams are automatically 2. Defending Super Bowl champs. Their roster is very comparable to Philadelphia in terms of top to bottom being good. Good D-line, good linebackers, good cornerbacks, good wide receivers, good running game, solid tight end. Like they're good top to bottom, which is what we talk about Philadelphia being versus a team like Green Bay. That's 2. You can make the case that the Bucs are up there as well. I think that's totally fine. Their O-line is atrocious though, and that's going to be a massive, massive red flag, at least for me, with the Bucs going into this year. I think they win the NFC South, but are nowhere near as good as they have been the past couple of years. So that would be overall 3. Cowboys, not. Cardinals, no, at least not till New Hopkins comes back, and that's 6 games into the season, so we can X them out of being better than Philadelphia. The Niners are very much like Philadelphia, an unknown quarterback with a very, very good team overall. Their cornerbacks are not as good as Philly, so I'd put Philly's roster ahead of them as well. Saints are definitely not as good. We'll go with the Commanders, not good. Seattle, obviously, all these teams down here are just absolutely not even close. Maybe Minnesota is going to be the dark horse team. I think like ESPN's Colin Cowherd has said they're a 12-win football team, or not ESPN, sorry, Fox Colin Cowherd said that they're a 12-win football team. But I wanted to show this list just to show you guys that, yes, you can make the case Eagles are a great team, but how can you be an NFL exec and say the Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFC and then put them 5th? If you go top to bottom roster-wise, they have one of the best rosters. They have a top 3 roster in the NFC as long as Jalen Hurts plays very, very well at the quarterback spot, which we all think that he is 100% going to. Is there a team that you think is clearly better than Philadelphia in the NFC? I'm curious where you guys are at right now in this, and you can spam the comment section if you guys want. I think for sure the Rams. That's 100%. For sure the Rams. And then maybe you can make the case for the Bucs and the Packers being the other 2 teams. But anybody else that you think is better than Philadelphia? I'm curious what you guys think in our comment section here on the Thomas Mott Show. Okay, more specific news here. Maybe Britain Covey could actually be activated for Sunday's matchup against the Lions. and actually return all of the punts. There's a new report I will show you from SI.com. I think the Eagles Today website, which we'll throw up on your screen right now, talks about how the expectation is that Britain Covey will return punts versus the Detroit Lions. So here's the article, quote, "Seems likely that Covey will be returning punts for the Eagles in Detroit when the season begins on Sunday against what looks like a feisty Lions team." Pause, they are, and we'll talk about that later on this week. They are a very, very feisty Lions team and are very much underrated, and it's not just the Hard Knocks talking. They are pretty darn good. Head coach Nick Sirianni said on Thursday there are options, but it looks like the only one. Right now, Covey, an undrafted free agent from Utah, is the only one with any experience, and that came only in college. He is on the practice squad, and so they go into the fact that Rager is no longer there and Greg Ward is no longer there. Your only other option truly is Boston Scott, and so I guess you could go ahead and use Scott, but it feels like Covey's kind of the only option to return kicks, and so with the way the NFL roster works with the 16 practice squad players, you can protect 4, you can elevate some for X amount of games during the year. I don't know if they're going to, deactivate somebody and then activate Covey to be on the 53, but keep an eye on this story. He might actually go ahead and dress and be one of the 53 players versus just being a practice squad, which I think a lot of people would be excited for because Britain Covey at Utah was very exciting. I think a little underwhelming in training camp and preseason this year, but one of those kind of project guys that they want to grow into possibly being a wide receiver 3, a slot guy, or in this instance being a kick returner. And as you go through the Eagle depth chart, again, who wants to actually return kicks this year? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are not going to do it. Greg Ward is on IR with the toe injury. Pascal's not going to do it. Watkins might do kick return, but not overall punt return. There's just not in terms of overall punt return. You can make the case of Kenny Gainwell. It's what ESPN does here on their depth chart, but Gainwell, again, is not the real guy you want to return punts because returning punts is a twofold thing. You want someone 100% who's explosive, but you also want someone who's very reliable, and Covey is both of those things. So keep an eye on Britain Covey possibly going ahead and returning punts for the Philadelphia Eagles as soon as week 1, again, 1 week from now against the Detroit Lions. The Lions are interesting, and again, we'll talk more about them later on this week. I'm a little worried. Now, I'm not worried in terms of the fact that Philadelphia is going to lose, but this is not going to be your 41-14 blowout win over the Detroit Lions that you see teams do every single year. This is a real NFL team, the first time in a long time, and they're something you do not want to take for granted or just try to gloss right over because they are a pretty good team. Okay, final story here, which I think is our national story of the day. Again, I like to tie the national stories in with the rest of, with the Philadelphia Eagles, because we're Eagles focused, but we talk about the NFL as a whole. Look at this article from NFL.com. This is fun. You might have missed this if you're an NFL.com, peruser during the week. It's just a fun thing to go ahead and show you just how crazy the switch from Philadelphia's a mediocre football team to the Eagles are stacked, how quickly it has come, especially post CJ Gardner-Johnson trade, which happened just a couple of days ago. Look at the title. Super Bowl LVI, so 57 predictions. Bills and Buccaneers to face off for the Lombardi Trophy in Arizona. And what the whole gist of this is that they went ahead and basically had every single NFL.com, I would say, what do we want to call them? Writers, host or whatever. Everyone who works for NFL.com, who you might recognize, went ahead and predicted who is going to be at the Super Bowl at Glendale, Arizona on February 12th. Just take a look at some of these, right? Okay, obviously, you got a lot of Bills. So Bills over Packers, sure. Bills over Packers, sure. Bills over 49ers, sure. Then here you go. Bills over Eagles. Look at that. 2 well-rounded teams reached the game's biggest stage where Josh Allen performs a one-man show to finish the job. Jim Kelly just couldn't. So, one, they have them losing, but Philadelphia, one of the teams that they picked. Bills over Rams. Look at first off, Bills. This is crazy. Bills over Rams, Bills over Rams, Bills over Bucks, Bills over 49ers. Then Adam ranked Bills over Eagles. Seems like it has been a long time coming for the Buffalo Bills. It's a build-up like Cody Rhodes eventually fulfilling his father's legacy at WrestleMania. It's the Bills' time now. But again, he says the Eagles. Then you have Bills over Rams. Jim Trotter, Bills over Eagles. So we're going to lose it, apparently. But Bills over Eagles. Time for the Buffalonians to finally experience something other than heartbreak on Super Bowl Sunday. Kurt Warner, Bills over Rams. Finally, no Bills. Chargers over Rams. Chargers over Packers. How about this one? Chargers over Eagles. So again, the Eagles are losing this game, but they at least get us there overall. In full bloom, Justin Herbert emerges as the league's prize treasure under center. His MVP campaign serves as a rousing jaunt through Pro Football's wilderness, captain the Arizona desert, blah, 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 off the favorite Eagles. So you had an Eagle mentioned there as well. Chargers over Packers, Bucks over Broncos, Bucks over Bills, Ravens over Saints, that's a ridiculous one, and Packers over Ravens, Colts over Rams, and there you go, Chiefs over Eagles, and finally, Greg Rosenthal, very, very well-known, well-respected NFL guy. Eagles fans won't be able to complain anymore after their second Super Bowl in 6 years. So that's a total of 1, let's just count this. What was it? 2. So there's 2 there. Then you go up to 3. Then you have 4. Then 5. And then 6. Count them 6 times. NFL.com, in terms of one of their writers, said Philadelphia would make the Super Bowl. So just to go ahead and wrap up what today's show and kind of the feature of today's show, minus the Covey news. Teams, or maybe NFL execs, which we talked about, but most notably media people are starting to kind of change their flavor around Philadelphia and change the whole, the Eagles are a mediocre football team. And you're even getting to the point where gone are the articles of, the Eagles are really good minus Jalen Hurts. And now it's like the Eagles are really good, plus Jalen Hurts is going to be really good this year. So fun to go ahead and watch and fun to see the national media change on that. Okay, with week 1 coming up on Sunday as we wrap up today's show, plenty of more content happening as this week is going to go ahead and progress. So stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe. Help us grow this channel. If you guys are brand new, you never watched a Thomas Mott show ever, we appreciate you. Welcome on in. Hit the red subscribe button down below. Thumbs up as well, and leave a comment to help the algorithm and help us grow. That way more people like you can follow and subscribe to the channel. But I'm telling you, more content this week. It's going to be a lot of fun, so go ahead and subscribe. For the Thomas Mott show, as we get your week, I guess, either finished or started, depending on when you watch this, we'll see you guys in the next video.